The Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing Company, more commonly known as 3M, is present in almost every aspect of our lives. Take, for example, the toothpaste you use to brush your teeth, the lint roller you use for that last-minute touch-up, street signs you pass on the way to work, office supplies you use every day, even your living room couch. All of these contain some degree of 3M products. Today, they maintain an impressive portfolio, including 6,500 researchers, 20,000 patents and growing, and more than 50,000 products, to name a few. These exploits allow 3M to boast sales of almost $31 billion annually with a global presence of almost 90,000 employees. Operating in more than 70 countries, their products are present in well over 200 countries. Throughout the course of the next 20 minutes, we will describe 3M's mission, provide a brief timeline of their history, and identify a few communication strategies and techniques 3M has engaged to foster the success they enjoy today. But first, let's take a quick look at 3M as depicted by none other than the company themselves. Here's the innovative culture of 3M. As much as 3M strives to lead the world in innovation, they strive to keep the simple things simple. Employees are even allowed 15% of each shift to explore new projects, goals, and ideas. Consider 3M as merely a big, expensive playground for creative geniuses. Their simplicity permeates through their company and can be witnessed in their mission statement, which humbly reads, advancing every opportunity, improving every life. A simple enough concept for a multi-billion-dollar company. As you can see, however, 3M's vision is a little less direct. More simply stated, 3M relies on the quality and dependability of their products to gain the advantage over their competitors and earn customer preference in every marketplace they inhabit. What should this mean to you, or why should this be important to you? 3M believes their employees are their most valuable asset and therefore reinvest heavily in their employees. By fostering teamwork and innovation, 3M aims to cultivate new ideas from every level of their organization. By mentoring and coaching new employees through the entire process of inception to production, 3M encourages their staff to prioritize and execute their objectives and to not only meet, but to exceed deadlines whenever possible. Taking this mentorship program one step farther, 3M actively recruits employees who continuously demonstrate their ability and desire to handle more significant roles into their executive mentorship program, comprised of 15 interactive interviews throughout the course of 1 year. Describing themselves as passionate, mad scientists with a mission to change the world, 3M currently spends more than $1 billion annually on research and development. But they didn't get here overnight. Originally conceived in 1902 by a small group of businessmen, 3M is currently celebrating their 112th year in the business of creativity, imagination, and innovation. Let's take a step back and look at a brief history of some of the milestones which have brought 3M to where they are today.
History. 3M was founded in 1902 at Lake Superior, town of the Two Harbor, Minnesota, by 5 businessmen: Henry S. Bryan, Harriman W. Cable, John DeWayne, William A. McGonigal, Dr. J. Daniel Budd, who were set out to mine. After finding out the grinding wheel abrasive came to little or no value, the Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing Company moved to near Duluth to focus on sandpaper. 3M made the world's first waterproof sandpaper, which reduced dust during the automobile in the early 1920s. 5 years later, in 1925, a young 3M engineer invented masking tape, Richard G. Drew. He also invented Scotch cellulose tape, later named cellophane tape. This tape was helpful during the Great Depression to fix simple repairs. Cellophane tape became the company's most successful consumer product. In the 1950s, 3M was introduced the Thermofax photographic copying process, Scotchgard, fabric protector, videotape, Scotch-Brite, cleaning pads, and several new electromechanical products. In 1968, Spencer Silver, chemist, tried to make a purpose on inventing Post-it notes, but failed, until Art Fry came along in 1974, who heard him talk about it at a company seminar. It took them 12 years from when the technology behind the product was first developed. In 1990, sales reached the 15 billion mark at 3M. It was also Post-it's 10th anniversary and was recognized as one of the top consumers brand of the decade. 2004 sales topped 20 billion for the first time, with innovative new products contributing significantly to growth. Throughout the years, 3M has been one of the most successful businesses in the world.
Business etiquette in communications. Telephone. Avoiding long pauses. Often there may be a pause to look something up or do something for the person that's on the other line. This can lead to an awkward situation where the person on the other line may think you are no longer there and hang up, or have to ask and get frustrated. Long pauses can create uneasy tension and even doubt that you may not be the person to handle the situation. You can avoid this from happening by using filler words such as, "It will take me just a moment to pull up the information you're asking for. In the meantime, how is your day going?" No chewing. It's an awkward sound to hear someone chewing gum or crunching food while you are talking to them. Many people will even consider this to be very rude. You want to avoid making odd mouth sounds when communicating so that you can make a clear and understandable connection. Don't set the phone down. Placing a caller on hold is a way better option than setting the phone down. This caller may be able to pick up other conversations in the room, and it may create doubt in your credibility. This can also create frustration if the caller picks up negative conversations. Don't leave a call on hold too long. Always check in with your caller. A 30-second hold may not feel like long, but to some who are waiting, it seems like it can take up to 5 minutes. If your boss is needing something now, they sure don't want to wait on hold while you look up for their answer. Check in with your caller frequently and update them on the status of your reason for the hold. Inform the caller when you're placing them on speaker. People want to know who they are talking to. Voice tone and volume. You don't want to come across as a monotone voice to your caller. This will make you seem very robotic. Also, being aware of your volume is important too. A voice too soft can frustrate the caller as they cannot hear every word you're saying. Alternatively, a voice too loud may be misunderstood as shouting. Fluctuating your tone and keeping a solid volume is important to communicating clearly.
Today we face an ever-changing world of technology and communication. It is more common to write emails as quick reminders instead of handwriting notes or even making a quick phone call. Because this method of communication is not face-to-face, there are a few things to keep in mind. The first thing to keep in mind is that the receiver of your email will not pick up on tones you would use in a face-to-face conversation, so be clear and precise with what you are trying to communicate. Things like sarcasm and subtle jokes often go unnoticed, or even worse, the recipient may think you're serious. When you are clear and precise, you limit the amount of confusion through this type of communication. This leads to the next rule of thumb. You should avoid the use of slang words, as it can cause misunderstanding between sender and receiver. Since it has become more common to communicate with individuals across the globe, it is even more important to remember when communicating with people from other cultures. Using proper grammar helps to provide a clear and detailed message, along with looking more professional. The sender will not only seem well educated, but people will be more likely to take them seriously. When sending messages to large groups of people with the intent to share information, be detailed but conscious of the receiver's time and needs. Make the email short but informational. Keep in mind, the subject line of the email is for a brief explanation of the email and should not be used for the entire body of the email. Another good tip to remember is to avoid writing in all capital letters. At times, this can completely change the tone of your message, as it is often viewed as yelling in writing. Here is a good example. "Please come see me when you have a moment," versus "Please come see me when you have a moment." Does the first version seem a little harsher than the second? Here is another good example. "Sabrina, you will be working with James on the new project. Please consult him on any questions you may have." Versus, "Sabrina, you will be working with James on the new project. Please consult him with any questions you may have." As you can see, placing the word "please" in caps places more emphasis on it, and can create a sense that Sabrina may not always consult well with other people, or ask questions as she should. Avoid the overuse of exclamation points and emoticons. In business communication, it is important to think about the person or group of people receiving the email. If you are sending an email to a supervisor, it is probably better to cut out extra exclamation points at the end of your sentence and to leave out the smiley faces. Make and use a professional signature. Employee name, title, business name, address, phone number or extension, fax number, and any other helpful information should be placed in a professional signature. People want to be able to communicate with you, and sometimes email isn't the right channel. Lastly, keep in mind that the reply and reply all options. If a note from your boss is sent to the team, it is important to push the correct reply button. especially if you're dealing with personal or sensitive information. Not everyone should get that kind of information. This will help avoid embarrassing and potentially job-threatening situations. We've covered a lot of information, so let's see what this may look like when you put it to use. For this example, you will need to send out a message to the entire staff informing them of malfunctioning equipment. Your email could be something like this. Subject: elevator out of order. The elevator is temporarily out of order. Our repair team is currently working on the issue and will send out a communication once repairs are complete. For the time being, please use the stairs. Thank you for your cooperation. Sabrina Carnes, Office Assistant, ERS Inc. Email scarnes@ersinc.com. Phone 123-456-7890.
In person. Active listening. Make sure you are paying attention to what the person is saying to you. Taking notes is never a bad idea. Nonverbal communication. Eye contact and head nodding shows you are paying attention and understand what is being communicated. Hand gestures. Hand gestures are fine to use, but not to overuse. If you are all over the place with your hands, it may be distracting to your audience. Smile. Happiness is contagious after all. It is easier to talk with someone who appears happy or in a good mood as opposed to someone who appears angry or upset. Watch your body language. Arms crossed across your chest may make you look like you are in disagreement with the person you are talking to, while hands on your hips may make you look like you just don't care or you're being impatient.